again to this beautiful spiritual Holy Spirit Sunday. Before we get into our lecture, A Spiritual Destination, our intro 3, what it does, and scripture is always open, I will give you a funny. It says that a woman walked up to an elderly man sitting on the porch in his rocking chair. She could not help but notice how happy he looked. So she asked, "What's your secret for a long, happy life?" He said, "I smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day. I drink a case of whiskey a week, and I eat fatty foods, and I never exercise." She said, "That is amazing." She said, "How old are you?" He said, 36. So let's move on to our lecture. In times like these, it is challenging to know where to begin with our prayers or even how to pray. Many hearts are sore and aching, while others, helpless, still continue to cry out to God for mercy and for an intervention where people can once more live in peace and our lands are healed. Despite the way that we may feel, God is forever faithful. God changes not. God is the same God today as God was yesterday and forevermore shall be. The same power that parted the Red Sea for the children of Israel to cross over from their enemy Pharaoh and his army. That same God, that same power that broke the chains and opened prison doors and raised Lazarus from the dead is the same God today in this moment, who is more than willing to exercise that same power on our behalf. We cannot allow the enemy to instill fear in us or that we get to the point of being consumed by it. Our goal should be to stand together in unity and to pray on behalf of our nation, to affirm God to heal our land, strengthen its people, and give those in authority wisdom, guidance, and divine strategies. God answers prayers, and we can find comfort in its promise. In Isaiah 60:18, it says, "Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting no destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls of salvation in thy gates of praise." And that brings me to the spiritual vitamins that I receive every morning, as many do, by my Shariki and our Naiwili. And Naiwili sent one this week that stood out to me, and it's called the balance sheet of life. And it tells us to check ourselves, really. It says the most destructive habit is worry. The greatest joy is giving. The greatest loss is loss of self-respect. The most satisfying work is helping others. The ugliest personality trait is selfishness. The greatest shot in the arm is encouragement. The greatest problem to overcome is fear. The most effective sleeping pill is peace of mind. The most crippling failure, disease, is excuses. The most powerful force in life is love. The most dangerous act is gossip. The world's most incredible computer is the brain. The deadliest weapon is the tongue. The 2 most powerful field words is "I can." The greatest asset is faith. The most worthless emotion is self-pity. The most beautiful attire is a smile. The most prized possession is integrity. The most powerful channel of communication is meditation and prayer. The most contagious spirit is enthusiasm. Life ends when we stop dreaming. Belief ends when we stop believing. Love ends when we stop caring. This is a spiritual destination. Seed the clouds, for what we sow today is what we will see tomorrow. We have in this new year to study this foundation, the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. The thing itself is the Spirit of God, the power of God, the presence of God. The way it works is through us as we work it. And what it does unto us as we believe. It does what we direct it to do. So when Revelations 21, 3-4 says, I will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will mourning, nor outcry, nor pain be no more. The former things has passed. What it's telling us is we are not to have any worries, no fears, no doubt. But we are to realize we are on a spiritual destination. When we plan trips, we are excited, we are packing, we are planning, we are looking forward to. We have I can't wait attitude. We are ready to arrive at a planned destination. Well, what about our spiritual plan? To arrive at a place where we are cool, calm, and collected, filled with new understanding, new awareness, new goals, a new walk, a new stride. The divine key within us can and will open all the doors of goodness that is ours by divine birthright. Emmett Fox says, as well as others taught, God creates through the power of its word. The word is the mold, which is acting through law. And acting through law, it produces form. What we focus on, we collapse into. We are the conduit in which spirit, power, animates and acts as health, prosperity, and awakening, understanding, success, through our use of this spiritual power, only to arrive at a spiritual destination. So when we awaken, when we understand, when we utilize this power, it will animate itself through whatever your need is. Healing animates and acts through us as we act as it. Whoever we are, whatever we have done or not done, we are worthy of being healed, blessed, and favored. Whatever we are in life right now, I need you to say, I'm on a spiritual destination. That means we are claiming we are headed towards something greater than. And we need to do that with excitement as preparing for this beautiful trip. Everything works together for our good when we work it out. A spiritual destination means moving in the light, being guided, led, and most of all, enjoying the journey. As we continue to move through a new year that appears to mimic some of the past year. Nevertheless, this is a new year, and we are on a spiritual journey headed toward a spiritual destination. Spiritual, as we've learned this month, is the atmosphere of God, Father, Creator, the infinite, intelligence, mind. Destination, the place to which someone, something is going or being sent to, arriving at. So my thoughts for this month's theme is for us to think in and as God, speak as the wisdom of God, walk in, do as the action of God, and most of all, to know as God. In these times, we should and we need to be reminded of the promise, our texts, writers, many scriptures that assist in reminding us that when we stay steadfast, when we affirm, when we meditate, when we pray, and when we declare regularly, we shall arrive at our spiritual destination. In talking with Martell this week, she asked me, what is the destination? And I replied, a place where we know without doubt that all there is the power, the presence, the love, the energy, the vibration of our God. In that is whatever the need. Remember, family, there is no need to wait for a new year to state our case, declare our position in this thing called life. Anytime is the right time. Listen to the still small voice speaking to you, even as I speak right now. True wisdom wants our ear. It wants to enlighten our mind. That which we experience comes through our words, felt in our hearts, which shows up as a demonstration, arriving at a spiritual destination. There is one universal presence, intelligence, which we are all an expression of. That image, that likeness, that means we have creative abilities, dominion over all things, because we have the power to think. Just as I said earlier, with the beauty that we saw in our meditative state, we are the greatest of God's creation. We have the ability and the power to think. And as we think and speak and believe and faith, it is done unto us. It's like plugging in an appliance for it to supply whatever we need. Whether we plug in a fan to get cool, a heater to get warm, our refrigerator to keep our food cold. So it is to supply our need through the most powerful source, our God. Our thoughts, our thinking capacity is our ability to supply a need. As an expression of the one presence, we are part of it, the thing itself, just as the drop of ocean water is still part of the whole ocean. Yet we have our own thoughts, feelings, likes, dislikes, dreams, and desire. So what we think, speak, and do, it matters. Not only for our individual life, but for the benefit of the whole. This life, it shook us up. But this is not new. Most, if not all of us, need a wake-up call. This virus, policing, and disruption of our government is that call. The one mind of infinite wisdom we all use. We can use it any way that we choose. That is that individuality that our God bestowed upon us. What it does. I don't speak on current events much, for you have already heard about whatever it is through many means. The word says it rains on the just and the unjust, meaning the law is no respecter of persons. Whoever works the power works for. So when we look at our government, when we look at our president, when we look at things that are out of order, they are actually working the power. So now we have the opportunity on a spiritual destination to work it on our behalf. They don't have the last word. So let the just remember what we are working with, the thing itself, and how it relates to each of us. It, the power, presence, it works as healing. It works as resource and supply. It works as unity. It works as guidance. It works as revelation. God is forever making all things new. Why? Because things, life, thoughts, our deeds appear to get out of order, not moving toward that spiritual destination. But our comforter reminds us today is the time. Yesterday and all the years that we go back to is gone. Storming the Capitol, the coronavirus, unemployment, loved ones taking flight, business dissolving. Let us look for the lessons in the shakeup and then the blessings that's right there with it. Everything does work together for our good when we keep our eye on the prize. Let us not go another hour, another day, another year with unnecessary baggage that, I remind you, we pay for. We pay for it when we're worried, when we don't know what's going to happen, even though we know that God is all good and God is working it out even right now. But that unnecessary baggage we pay for in energy. That's why we're tired. We pay for it in our vibration. We pay for it with our heartstrings. Disease is because of dis-ease in the mind, and then it migrates. Let us in this moment, let it go, whatever it is. For what we are this moment is the result of millions of years of past thoughts, belief, words, and actions. We've embodied it. We've embraced it. We talk about it. We remember it. We listen to it. But let us on this spiritual journey, wanting to arrive on a spiritual destination where we find peace, love, joy, happiness, and understanding. Let us know right now it's always the time. What better time than now? The information we have received over many years by many are building blocks. They are stairways. They are open doors, open windows, keys that unlock untold blessings. And it is inspiration. Each year, many of us make what we call New Year's resolutions. That's great. We are blessed with one perfect life, which is God. We experience all of God each and every moment that we are awakened, that we recognize it, that we unify it, that we are aware of it, and that we realize it, and then that we're grateful for it. We were always told to save for a rainy day. So may we store up and utilize that manna from heaven, that spiritual food served, that enlightenment that's come to us over the years. It's available now. We are studying, listening, reading, and all the things that we do to stay inspired and to stay laid up in that heavenly state of being. But let us stay focused. We are spiritual beings having human experiences. This is the time right now that we practice, the time we speak, not in hate, but love, not in doubt, but assurance, not in division, but unity, not in confusion, but certainty. How we conduct ourselves will determine how things unfold. May we gather ourselves and move toward a spiritual destination. Raymond Barker tells us we are life and we have no adversary. There is no power in the world to prevent our demonstration. For the infinite mind of God is the only reality. That how everything else can be changed. sickness, disease, back to wholeness, poverty, the appearance of lack to abundance and prosperity, fear and doubt, worry and confusion, back to assurance, confidence, and peace, division, back to unity, back to is our spiritual nature. Anything else is our human nature. We have exactly what it takes to fulfill the intentions of God. Nothing is missing. There is nothing new under the sun. Throughout history, there has always been plagues, viruses, race tension, unjust and unfair treatment, governmental corruption, police brutality, meanness, and holier than thou mentality. I will say in this season, we are experiencing more than the generations here now. That's why we're experiencing it. We are being shaken to our core. We are being reminded to truly depend on that unfailing source. Ernest Holmes says desires are urges of the indwelling intelligence, and we can either combat those urges or we can give them expression. Now, since we have choice and dominion and free will, since it reigns on the just and the unjust, since in our text it tells us the law, about the law, the servant of spirit is no respecter of persons. For as we think, so are we. Those urges can be the flight of so many, the wars and hatreds, storming the nation's capital, having leaders that do not have everyone's best interests at heart. The hunger and the mistreatment of our children and our seniors. The list can go on. But our now moment, what we know, no matter what has happened, we are still perfect beings within. If we will train ourselves to listen to the inner voice of truth, which speaks when we are quiet and in the stillness, we shall be guided to our spiritual destination. Our teaching tells us when circumstances arrive, we are not to come under it, serve it, continue to energize it, think on it, talk about it, but we are to remember we are new thought thinkers, truth seekers, and believers. Surmount upon it, exercise the creative law of thinking, grow in the wisdom and power, work it out through principle and the attributes of that thing itself. God created all for us to enjoy. When we cease dwelling in duality, God and something else, we then will align with our spiritual nature. If we keep our eye on the creator of love and plenty, we can't be distracted. This new year, as all new years, new days, new moments, is an opportunity to trust, to move in consciousness to a new understanding. Therefore, we see new appearances, new circumstances will arise. And when things happen, they don't define us. They come to guide us. All that has transpired over the years came because we attracted it. Then it shows us and tells us what our next assignment is. Our resolutions, and which in that is solutions for change, is necessary. To be made in the image and likeness means to have creative abilities, dominion over all things, because we have the power to think unlike any other creation. Let us think and believe ourselves out of our personal challenges, our family challenges, our community challenges, our country challenges, our worldly challenges. We cannot leave it to others. We must step into it and shift it. God, being energy and everywhere present, is all-seeing, all-knowing, all-powerful. God is love, peace, joy, health, and happiness. God is all abundance and prosperity and glory. Everything good and plentiful. As we allow ourselves to be centered in spirit, we realize there is unseen potential. It is the infinite invisible, which is always bringing the visible into awareness as form. Healing, joy, unity, success, opportunity, transformation, so on and so on. So let us affirm today, the I am perceives truth from within, for the only power is God itself. Let us have an attitude of expectancy and acceptance as we live, move, and have our being in the continuous awareness of God's presence. We are on a spiritual destination. We are destined to experience good in our lives, in our nation. It is so, and so it is. Stay the course. Stay toward that spiritual destination in healing, resource, supply, whatever the need, the desire, and the dream. I thank you. I bless you. And so it is. At this